Hello. Hey. I'm Cody. And welcome back to Skills with Cody Berry. Let's get started. Hi, welcome back to Skills with Cody Berry. I'm Cody Berry, of course. In this case, I have a goatee. So, we're doing my final speech, possibly my final speech of high school. This one is for English 4, I believe, if I remember correctly. It's going to be going over over two things. Comparing John Milton and Alexander Pope. So, we're going to start off diving in. We're going to talk about what they share. So first, Milton and Pope were deeply rooted in the classical influence. Milton used the structure of Homer and Virgil to write a Christian epic, while Pope, on the other hand, he used those same structures to create mock epics. They both loved the heroic couplet or blank verse, structures that require immense technical skill. So, that's the first thing. The second thing, they share a purpose. They share a certain purpose. Neither author actually wrote to entertain. It wasn't just entertain. John Milton, he famously stated that he wanted to, and I quote, justify the ways of God to men. So similarly, Pope, on the other hand, he wrote to, and I quote, vindicate the ways of God to man, in his own essay on man, which aimed to teach his readers, or us as the audience, about human nature and balance. So, bottom line, they both believe literature should be a tool for, moral instruction. So, those were the similarities, right? How about the differences? So, their execution is worlds apart, but the first major difference we find is the tone. So, Milton's style is, it's sublime. It's grand, serious, and, often overwhelming, to say the least. He wants you to feel the weight of eternity. Pope, him, on the other hand, he uses satire, which is he's witty, biting, sharp. It's just like cutting a knife. So, he basically uses humor to point out how ridiculous people can be. While Milton, on the other hand, he hardly uses humor. So the reason why is because the stakes, heaven or hell, in this case, are too high. So the second difference we see here is scope. Milton's work is cosmetic. He writes about the beginning of the universe, the war in heaven, and the fate of all humanity. So, Pope's scope is social. It's not cosmic. So, he focuses on the drawing rooms of London, the gossip of the elite, and the specific flaws of his society. So, and while Milton looks up at the stars, Pope himself just looks at his reflection in the mirror. So, what is our conclusion today? In conclusion, Milton and Pope, they represent two sides of the same coin. They both use the highest forms of poetry to try and make the world a better and more thoughtful place. Now, whether through the thundering gravity of Milton or the razor-sharp wit of Pope, both of those authors, they prove that the way we tell a story is just as important as the story itself. So, it's not, there's differences, there's similarities, and, it still tells a story, and they do it right with the poetry that they use. So, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to like the video, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye for now, everybody.